Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. In today's video we're having a look at a Nintendo Switch controller, the QRD Stellar T3 wireless joypad, or a couple of Joy-Cons for a Nintendo Switch. They can be used as a as like a pro controller as well. Now just to go over some of the things on this, but before I do that, I just want to say that this company actually reached out to me. So since starting my YouTube channel, I've got like over 6,000 subscribers now, or at least at the time of shooting this video. I get approached by a whole bunch of companies, jewelries, and a lot of stuff is no good. But when these guys contacted me, I had a look at the controller and I thought it was okay, and they gave me this controller to test, review and keep. So I did, and the reason I did it is one of my kids on their Switches, they've got Joy-Con drift on one of their Joy-Cons, and I thought, you know what, I'll try it out. I showed it to them. They really liked the fact that it's got like different lights. So you've got LEDs that go around the controller, go around the analog sticks, and they look kind of nice. And given the fact, you know, my boys are 7 and 9, they're like, Dad, we want that. And I was like, okay, let me do this review. I'll check it out and we'll do it. Now, I've got nothing, I've got no commitments to these guys or anything. I told them, look, I'll do the review. I'm not going to share it to you before. The only time you'll see it is when it goes live on YouTube, and I'll give it my honest opinion, and that's what I'm doing. So you're seeing the unboxing here. You've got a USB Type-C cable in there. You've got an instruction manual. You've got like another part to the controller, which I imagine you would likely have to open it up to change it, because I was trying to pull the thing off. I wasn't quite sure how to do it, but hey, if you do decide to maybe open it up, you can change the controller. Now, I gave it a little shot and I'll talk through all my tests. Now, this works on the Nintendo Switch, the PC, iOS and Android. To be honest, I'm only interested in using this on the Switch, really for my boys to kind of mess around with and try. So that's all I tried it on, and I'm going to go through all the tests and everything that I did for the Switch. So guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hey, your subscription and a like is super appreciated. Let's get into this little test video. So once unboxed, then we have the controller here. It's nicely, first impressions, it's nicely put together. Going around there, now one of the things you're going to notice is, okay, so you've got a couple of back buttons. One of them is actually, when you press it, it changes the intensity of the vibration, and the other one I think is for pairing. Then you've got the macro buttons at the back, which like most other controllers can be configured to any of like the face or shoulder buttons. One thing here, if you're like, okay, so if you're using this with the Switch, it attaches to the Switch and it charges the way a normal Joy-Con does, and it works obviously through the rails rather than Bluetooth or anything. But if you're, let's say you're only using it as a pro controller, you've got two separate USB Type-C ports at the bottom, so you would have to charge each one individually, which, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me personally, it sounds like it's a better option to have it on your Switch and kind of use it on that. But overall, it kind of looks all right. When I rotate it, it feels good in the hand. Okay, so next up, let's remove the Joy-Cons from our Switch. So I like using the Hori left Joy-Con because I really do like a D-pad. So with this one, I'm going to get kind of better analog sticks, let's hope. And I'm also going to get a D-pad. So as soon as you put it in, bang, it just pairs. You know, like with some of these controllers, you've got them on the side, but you still require Bluetooth. It's not the case with this. It works as a normal Joy-Con does. Okay, as I'm more of a retro games player, I wanted to try something where I can use the D-pad straight away. Now, the D-pad's very, very clicky. Now, it's not a bad D-pad, but hey, I like playing Street Fighter games, and I wanted to see how easy it was to do dragon punches and fireballs. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, this isn't the best D-pad I've played for like Street Fighter games, but I'm very fussy when it comes to Street Fighter. However, I was able to pull off my dragon punches. I don't know what joypad I can kind of describe this as to being similar to, but we'll try it like other games as well, not necessarily like Street Fighter games, and you'll see what that kind of is like. But overall, the D-pad's kind of alright. It does make kind of clicky sounds, and hopefully you can hear some of those going through there. But I do like some of the stuff that's in here. Also, it's like some of the standard features on here is like we mentioned, the macro buttons at the back, where you can set any of the buttons to the back buttons. I tend not to use them. I'm just a bit old school. In fact, I've used it once on the Steam Deck for one game in particular, but it's good to have that option. It also has like the turbo functions as well, so you can have auto fire on there as well. I really do like the vibration. When I tried it on some other games later, you can set it to like the strengths of 30, 50, 75 and 100%, and honestly, it does feel very, very good in the hand. Like, I have to say, like, I was kind of impressed. Before I decided to do this video, I did have a look at it and it looked okay, and so far from me holding it, yeah, it feels okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's no Sega Saturn controller. It's no 8-bit though M30 D-pad, you know, but for what it is, it's actually okay, and it's a lot better than the 4 buttons you've got on the Switch. The Nintendo Switch has one of the best versions of one of the best arcades, one of my favorite arcade games out there, and that's Shinobi. And the reason that I kind of tried Shinobi here is I'm kind of crouching here, and if you've got a bad D-pad, you know, when you move it down, your character will start kind of crawling left and right. It wasn't the case in this. Whenever I held it down and I meant to hold down, my ninja just stayed still. And when I've done the diagonal walk just kind of worked for me. So overall, I didn't have issue with the D-pad. Now I know the D-pad isn't a big selling point for a lot of modern controllers, but I play a lot of old games. I play a lot of 2D games. D-pad is one of the most important things for me, and I find these days it's just difficult to get good D-pads. But overall, I have to say, like for Street Fighter, definitely not as good as the 8-bit though M30, for example. But for like something like Shinobi, absolutely no issues. It just works exactly how I want it to work. So I imagine games like Super Mario Brothers, no issues. Left, right, up, down, clean, precise movements. Looking at something a little bit more modern, here's Borderlands 3. It runs really well on the Switch, but hey, this isn't a performance check of the game. It's just to see how well the controller does. Now, while I'm moving it around, I tried doing some really like slow, like I tried moving the analog sticks just a tiny little bit, and it wasn't registering the movement. And I'm like, okay, does this thing have dead zones? Yeah, but I think, well, I wanted to find out if that was something that was within the game, or was it the actual stick? Because hey, you know, we all hate dead zones. We want to move the analog stick a little bit, and we want it to move a little bit. So after testing it, I mean, it moves good. The sticks are nice and tight. One thing I hate is a loose stick. Like playing loose analog sticks, but what I mean by loose analog sticks is like the PlayStation 3. Do you remember the PlayStation 3 controller? The analog sticks were really loose, unlike the Xbox 360, and I always preferred the Xbox 360 sticks, but these have got a nice bit of feedback on them. You know, when you move them, they move back in place rather nicely. But next up, let's go into, like, you know, the analog stick configuration, and let's move it around to see how responsive it is. Got a good news, going over into the Switch's settings where you can test the analog sticks. And if you've ever had Joy-Con drift, now I haven't had Joy-Con drift on any of my Switch Joy-Cons, but my kids have. Maybe because, I don't know, they're just a little bit dirtier, or maybe they don't take care of their stuff as much as I do. Now, when going into the analog sticks, as you can see, when I'm doing like slight movements, it's registering straight away. As soon as I move the stick, even in the slightest, it moves, and honestly, it's very accurate. Here's a cool little feature now. You can change the LED lights. So the LED lights go around the side of the controller. All the buttons have the LEDs around them, as well as the analog sticks. Now, this is something my kids absolutely love. It's one of the things, you know, the reason I accepted this controller to do the review. Hey man, I love my kids, and one of them's got drift on there. I was like, cool, let's get this controller. Daddy's gonna do a review on his YouTube channel, and he's gonna give an honest opinion. And honestly, I really do like this feature. My kids absolutely loved it, and it's easy to do. If you can see the button there on the left hand side, on the bottom left, and on the right hand side, the bottom right, we've got T. You hold down T and you tap the analog stick, and it cycles through the colors. You don't have to have the same colors on both. You can mix and match, as you can see right over here. Okay, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, on the back of the controller, one of the buttons at the top, the M, well, the M stands for motor. Now, I think you've got like around 5 different intensities of it, from very light to quite intense and heavy, and it works really well. Just a single press of the button, you can do it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Maybe you'll see it on camera shaking a little bit, because it was shaking in my hands a bit. So that's actually a good option. You can change the intensity to your liking. I'm kind of weird. I'm not the biggest fan of rumble. I usually have it off. I rarely use it if a game forces it on you. But yeah, man, it's there for you. Okay, in this part here, I'm just going to let you guys hear how loud the buttons are, so you can decide for yourself. Honestly, when you're gaming, it's nothing really annoying, but I know some people are really sensitive to the sounds the controllers make. So let me be quiet and just begin the video. Right, so here we have the conclusion. And in conclusion, guys, do I like this controller? Well, yes, I do. And I'll go through the reasons why. To start off with, the D-pad is better than the Pro controller's D-pad. Not the best one out there. By no means is it a bad controller. It's an accurate D-pad. Sorry, it's an accurate D-pad. The analog sticks are very, very good. And I even tried it via Bluetooth with my Switch docked. And I played the new Super Mario Brothers Wonder, if that is that what it's called, and it works really, really well on it. Now, I would pick this over the Pro controller. Like, the price of this, I think, is $58.99 plus delivery. But I think like there's a code on like the website. I'll leave a link to that in the description of the video anyway. Do check that out if this is something you want to order. But the reason that I would pick this over the Pro controller, because it's roughly around the same price, but it has the features of, okay, it has all the rumble, you can change the intensity of the rumble, but I can use it as a Pro controller, and it feels good when you're using it in your hand as, you know, like a normal kind of console controller. But on top of that, I can just chop the sides, bang, put it into attach it to my Switch. So I've got two Joy-Cons there. If you're into the features like the lights, the macro buttons, the auto fire, that's all good. But here's one thing. Now, all the other third-party controllers I've got, they kind of work, but one issue that I always have with them, if like, for example, if I'm playing with my Switch docked, the home button will not wake up my Switch. It wasn't the case for this one. Pressing the home button woke up the Switch straight away, exactly the same as a normal Joy-Con would. Think of this just really as a Joy-Con. Now, on the downside of it, if you're only going to use it to play docked and you've got no intention of playing it in handheld mode, it may not be the best purchase because you have to charge two separate controllers. The way I guess you would maybe charge two separate Joy-Cons. But if you're playing this as a mixture, a combination of handheld mode and playing it in TV mode as well, then yeah, it's definitely good. After doing this video, like, I gave it to my kids, and my kids put it on tabletop mode, and they were playing it, they were messing about with it, they were going through all the light combos. It is good, it's sturdy, the buttons are decent. I like the face buttons as well. They definitely make like a little bit of a sound, but everything feels good and premium on this. So I want to take this chance to thank the guys over at QRD for sending me out this controller and actually agreeing to our terms and conditions, which was, you guys send me a controller, you have no input in how I do my review, where I put it out. All I did is I said to them, I'll have the review out within 2 weeks. But in fact, it's more like I got this controller 2 days ago and I got the review out. So I don't usually tend to take things. I do get offered quite a few things. But hey, you know what? This saved me a bit of money. My kids got a controller, they're happy. The company got a review. I got a video, and honestly, the controller is decent. So that's it, guys. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, then hey, a subscription and a like is super appreciated. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.